What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 10 of That Snow Moon Pod. In this episode, I wanted to talk about, for sure, The Last of Us, episode 2, kind of give my review on it and what I thought. And like always, there's a bunch of crazy new UFO, UAP reports going on the internet. And so I kind of wanted to give my intake on kind of what's been going on UFO Twitter. If you're not part of UFO Twitter, or just not really in the community as much as I am these days, especially. But I'll just start this pod off, I guess, with The Last of Us, episode 2. Following episode 1, this show seems to be the real deal when it comes to video game to live action adaptations to television. This episode was just really tense. Not as long as episode 1, but I felt the pacing of it was just consistent throughout. You were constantly feeling like, you were following Joel and Ellie, throughout the whole way. And again, if you hadn't seen my original review from episode 1, I said I've never played the games. I don't know any of the story points. I don't know how consistent or true to the story that television is portraying, but from what I've been seeing on the internet, seems like a lot of people are pretty happy on how accurately they're depicting the video game, which is nice to see. But yeah, just the tone of the show so far is just very grim and very, I don't want to say dark, because, it is a dark show, but I like how they're not getting too graphic just for the sake of being graphic, The creatures are disgusting looking, obviously, but they're not just like going over the top with the creepiness or the violence. There's not a whole lot of just like limbs exploding or pools of blood being exploded from them, or them throwing up, vomiting crazy, or just nothing too over the top. And I like how they're kind of making it seem almost as real as possible if this were to actually happen. I really like the chemistry between the actors so far. Pedro Pascal's continuing to kill it as Joel. Yeah, like I said, this episode wasn't as long as episode 1. I'm not sure if that's going to be kind of how the rest of the episodes are going to be, just a normal hour-long-ish episode, but this past episode flew by. I really like the tension within the scenes, especially when they come across these infected and they're trying to get through the city and move on. and continue on with the mission to get Ellie where they need to get her. Um, Slight spoilers, or I guess major spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen the episode yet, but just seeing how they continue to, move through the city, and you're just waiting for someone to eat it between them. I really like seeing how slowly you're seeing the trust between them, between Joel and Ellie. He still has those father instincts when he needs it to protecting her, even though they're still not fully on, the same wavelength, but they're both realizing that they all need each other, and the only way that they're going to be able to survive and get through this is if they stick together. And it's cool seeing their progress. I really like the intro of the episode, kind of showing, how it kind of all started, I guess, in Indonesia with the military bringing on that scientist lady and kind of asking her what she thinks and what they should do. And she's freaking out, and she's realizing the only way to stop this infection is not by vaccine or any kind of medicine, but they're going to need to just bomb the whole city. And it's kind of crazy seeing, just how kind of relevant the story is with the whole, infection, and, the government or the military wanting to try to get out a vaccine for this virus. And it's crazy just seeing how, just how we all went through this past couple of years, seeing some kind of virus go through our world like that, and how people react to the news, and how, we all try to fight it in different ways. But yeah, the show is awesome. I look forward to it every weekend now. It's become one of those things to, just look forward to at the end of the week. Kind of a good way to end the week leading into Monday. And yeah, I think the show will just continue to get better, and I'm excited. I'm super excited. But yeah, so I kind of just want to transition into, like I said at the beginning, there's been some things going on around the UFO UAP committee, or committee, I would say community. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, if you don't know who they are, Jeremy Corbell is a UFO researcher, filmmaker. He's been on Joe Rogan a few times now with Bob Lazar and Commander Fravor, the pilot that was chasing the famous Tic Tac UFO. And George Knapp, who is a radio / TV news reporter who's been heavily involved within the UFO committee now ever since he was the first person to interview Bob Lazar when he decided to come forward and talk about his experiences at Area 51. And George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell have a podcast now that they just released called Weaponized. And the first episode dropped Tuesday, I believe, or early Wednesday morning. and they kind of just went over who they are and what they do and what they plan on doing with the show. But one of the big takeaways from the episode was they had dropped a screenshot of a spherical object being filmed, I believe in 2016, and supposedly this spherical object was being chased by military aircraft. And I bring this up specifically because not only was it a pretty good piece of evidence that they decided to release, never before seen, I just keep seeing a lot of spherical UAP objects, especially on Twitter. These past couple of weeks, even before they decided to release this image on their podcast, I had just been seeing a lot of spherical objects being chased by jets, military aircraft. Even today, I was on Twitter and I saw a man filming a spherical object hovering in the air, and you see kind of like a attack helicopter approaching it while it's in midair and just hovering up in the sky, not moving. And you see this military helicopter approaching it, and it slowly starts to circle the object, kind of just taking a peek at it and trying to see what exactly is going on. And you can hear the guy filming it on the ground, and sounds like he's talking to his son or someone, and he's telling him, he's like, look, the helicopter circling it, it's trying to take a look at it. Clear as day, you could just see it going on. And I also saw one where there was a spherical object flying across the sky and being followed by two military jets following right behind it, chasing it. And I don't know what it is about this certain type of UAP aircraft that's been floating around recently. I know there's been plenty of UFO sightings regarding spherical objects throughout time. It doesn't seem like, whether it's a disc shaped, a cigar shaped, a pyramid shaped, a cube shape, it doesn't seem to matter what kind of shape these objects tend to have, but they all come in different shapes and sizes, it seems like. And whatever kind of technology that these aircraft are using obviously doesn't matter what shape the object is. It could be the shape of a cup, or it could probably just look like a Tic Tac or anything really. So whatever technology they're using obviously doesn't have any sense to what we could create ourselves, unless of course if we had the help of maybe possibly a crash that we recovered and slowly develop our own technology from what we recovered. but that obviously still remains to be seen, or at least proven to the public. I've talked about Roswell before and given my thoughts on what I believe on that incident. But yeah, just these crafts that I keep seeing appear on the internet, and just how many I see daily. Different types of videos from all over the world, it seems like. And I'm not trying to say that I believe every video, because I would say at least, maybe most of them, maybe that I'll watch the video and I'll kind of tell right away where I'm like, okay, I don't know if that one's legit, or I'll watch it and I'll be like, okay, that one for sure is definitely fake, just because, I mean, you could just tell, right? When you see a fake video, you could just tell right away there's like obviously some kind of CGI or some type of something to where it makes you automatically realize what you're looking at is not actually there, or it's something completely different. Especially nowadays, people can make crazy CGI videos of UFOs hovering around. And I think there's plenty of times where some videos just have just logical explanations, where whether it could be just a bug flying across the camera real fast, or bird or something that, it's not actually a UAP or UFO flying. It might actually have a logical explanation to it. But the thing about this subject and this topic of UFOs is that not everything obviously is a UFO, but it doesn't mean that the ones that, since we can't fully disprove or actually come to a full conclusion to, doesn't mean that it's not what it looks like. So when there's these debunkers that try to, prove whether or not this video is legit, or what is being shown on the video or film is actually a UFO, I think it's good to have, debunkers or skeptics out there to kind of just give another different point of view / opinion of kind of what's going on in this topic. It always kind of makes me laugh when I see certain comments or replies under these videos, to where, people will just put fake, or they'll just put laughing emojis, or just kind of just making jokes out of it, right? And those people that have that kind of response towards a lot of these videos, those aren't the people that obviously are ones to give their, full take on what they're actually looking at, because in their minds, everything's fake. You gotta have the holy grail to them. You gotta have the most full HD, no doubt about it, in their face, in order to change their minds. But in reality, if you were to probably give it to them, they would probably still find some way to either discredit it or still say that, oh, it's fake, it's CGI, it's from a movie, it's Jordan Peele's Nope, you know. Which is funny because in that movie, if you haven't seen it, the whole kind of the point of, if you haven't seen the movie, sorry, but the whole kind of point of the movie towards the end is to actually catch the object on camera. And at the end of the movie, once they finally get that money shot, that one picture at the end, you just know, okay, that's kind of what they needed to do in order to prove that they're not crazy or they're not, you know, pretending to see things. And yeah, it just kind of, that stuff is never going to go away with people. People are always going to try to continue to discredit these witnesses and these different types of evidence that people continue to post on the internet. And it's crazy to think of all the different types of photos and videos that have been posted on the internet throughout the years of different types of UFOs, and how many people have actually come forward and shared their experiences. And but think about all the people that haven't done any of that. Think of all the people that are just going on with their day normally, right? Like we all are. But they might have some kind of footage that they filmed on their phone, and they decided to record it thinking maybe it was a UFO, and maybe they tell all their friends at work or at school or whatever, but they're not reporting it to people. They're not posting it on the internet, because not everyone is out to, you know, put this type of footage out there, because even to this day they know what's to come if they decide to do that. Some people care about, you know, they don't want to be considered a, you know, a loony, or they don't want to get laughed at or criticized by people, because I mean, most people, right, we live in communities, and there's certain people that we follow that we've known for a long time, and whenever you decide to post something on the internet, it's usually your community and the people that you know in your circle that are the ones that will see it first, and they will be the ones to either criticize you first, or, you know, kind of just disregard it like it's nothing. Most of the stuff that we post on the internet is for our community and the ones that, you know, not everyone has thousands or millions of followers on social media. So it's like, why would they post something that they think they saw, or, you know, write a long lengthy tweet about it saying that I saw this thing hovering in the sky, and go on and tell their story? You know, why would they do that, right? I myself, I've filmed what I think was a UFO a couple years ago. I guess I'll tell this little story while I'm at it. This was a couple years ago. believe in early 2021. So think of it was still during where there was a lot of precautions regarding, you know, we were still going through the pandemic. Stores, restaurants were being closed a lot earlier than how they are now. Now they're pretty much back to normal business hours. But to kind of paint the picture more, I was driving late at night. I believe I had just left a friend of mine's house. And I was driving through the city, and I remember trying to get on the highway going through an underpass, and I look up, and right above, here in Texas we have grocery stores called HEB, and they're everywhere. Pretty much every city in Texas has one. And I remember driving and looking up right above this grocery store, and I was on the other side of the highway driving, and I noticed these lights in the sky, and I'm looking at these lights, and I'm kind of just waiting for them to kind of like start flashing or blinking, whatever, but they're not. They're kind of just these four lights all close together, and they're not flashing, they're not blinking, and they're pretty low for a regular regular airplane, passenger plane flying through the city. So while all these things are kind of going through my head, I'm just like, I've never seen a UFO before, but I've always kind of been one of those people where, as soon as I see something that I can't explain right away, I'm automatically thinking, okay, maybe this is actually, what I've been waiting for to see, right? So I continue to drive, but this time I'm starting to drive towards the lights, kind of forgetting about going home at this point. So I decide to drive towards the lights, and as these lights are still flying slowly up in the sky, still really low, not changing any course or anything, I decided to pull into the grocery store parking lot. And at this time, I'd say it's around 10 p.m. at night, maybe 11 p.m., closer to 11 p.m. And again, still pandemic hours going on. All the stores, there's shopping areas around this part of town, and everything's closed. The only thing that's open is the gas station that's connected to the grocery store. That's the only thing that's really open. But even then, it's an HEB gas station, so there's not like you can't go inside or nothing. It's just gas pumps. So there's no one around. There's no bunch of cars in the parking lot or nothing, right? Hardly even anyone on the road, because you can't really go anywhere at this time of night because everything's closed. But anyway, so I decided to pull into the parking lot because I'm like, okay, at this point I'm thinking, all right, this is definitely something I can't explain, so I gotta get this on film. So I decided to pull into the parking lot, and I park. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm just waiting for it to like give me some kind of sign to where it's all right. It's a helicopter, it's a airplane, something, right? Because it's flying so low though. Like, and I'm talking like too low for a passenger plane for sure to be flying anywhere near this city. Um, and so I pull out my phone and I just start recording. And I'm just filming this thing, just waiting to see some kind of blinking lights or some kind of flashes. And what really kind of was the cherry on top for me seeing this was, again, how low this thing was flying in the air. There was no signs of like helicopter noise or an airplane jet engines. I mean, obviously, if there's a helicopter flying anywhere near you, you can hear that thing coming a mile away. If there's any kind of airplane flying low, or even not even that low, like right above you, you could hear that thing coming, and that noise continues to go on until that thing is way out of your sight. And this thing continued to fly without making any sort of noise. And that's what really kind of got me to think that maybe actually what I was filming was possibly a UFO. And I still have that video to this day, and I've only shown, a few people, like I said, within my family and my community of friends. But I've never posted it on, some kind of UFO Twitter account, or, posted it on my personal accounts, just because, again, why would I, right? Why would I post some random video of something that these lights flying in the sky to, for what? I don't want certain type of, I wouldn't say criticism, because this video wouldn't do anything really, there'd probably be one person that likes it on Twitter from my friends that follow me, or, it's not kind of give me all this sort of attention that I definitely do not want. It would do nothing. So it just sits on my phone, and I'm sure there's so many people like me to where they've seen something or they've recorded something, and it's kind of just sitting with this person until forever, until they forget about it. So it's just crazy to think of, all the things that aren't being said and aren't being shown to us that people have knowledge of, but, whether it's refused to release it on personal reasons, or whether it's the secret governments that, have certain access to certain files or certain footage of different types of things that isn't released to the public. What we're seeing on the internet is pretty much, what we're allowed to see almost. That's why when you see people complaining about, the film, it's not fully HD. Everyone has camera phones now with good cameras. Why haven't we seen, a clear as day a video or photo of a UFO. And that kind of, I think, is the reason why, or at least part of the reason why, is just because some people, don't feel like they need to share what they've seen or what they have. I might try to put that video I was talking about attached to this episode, just to kind of show you. And again, yeah, to my sighting, 4 lights, kind of bright white yellowish lights, no blinking, no flashing. They all kind of stayed together, not in a fully straight line, but it kind of seemed like the 4th light at the end was kind of a little bit tailed off a little bit, but they were all still, for the most part, like side by side together. And I remember when I finally drove off, I was probably sitting there for a couple minutes filming it. But again, it's late at night. There's no one parked around. If I would have sat there any longer in my car, cop probably would have rolled up on me asking what the hell I'm doing. And, getting in arguments with cops is definitely not what anyone wants to be doing. So I remember driving off and kind of trying to see if I still could see the lights, but I remember kind of just driving off, and kind of when I continued to look back, I couldn't see it anymore. But it definitely wasn't flying fast enough to, leave my sight that quickly, I would say. So either the lights kind of just went off at a certain point, went dark, or I don't know, maybe I just couldn't see him. And yeah, I still to this day, I don't know what I saw, but I know in that area, there's a lot of UFO sightings and reports. There's lakes around. There's other smaller cities around that have reported and filmed certain different types of lights being reported, doing crazy maneuvers or just out of the ordinary, and that's what caught my eye. And yeah, I still don't know what it is about this subject that, not only intrigues people to give certain takes or just kind of their point of view on it. I kind of wanted to end this episode with this this tweet that I saw. Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you don't know, he's a highly famous astrophysicist. And just this morning, I remember, this is kind of like when I opened Twitter, this was like the first tweet that I saw when I opened Twitter. And this kind of just shows the, I guess you would say, ignorance towards this subject, to how some people who are kind of just one track mind, and until you give them the Holy Grail, they're gonna stay in their lane and kind of not be as optimistic as they should be. And this is his tweet. He says, "Visiting space aliens, upon seeing humans oppress or kill one another over who they worship, who they sleep with, what side of line they're born on, or how absorptive their skin is to sunlight, would surely race home and report no sign of intelligent life on Earth. So basically what he's saying is, if aliens from another galaxy were to come on Earth and see us humans act the way we act and how we treat each other and how we treat the planet, they would pretty much say that, oh, these guys are a bunch of dummies. And just that kind of point of view on not only the aliens themselves, because I don't think everyone's saying that these things that are being seen in the sky are necessarily aliens from another planet, but you know what Neil deGrasse Tyson is trying to say in that tweet, it just kind of, I don't know, it's just frustrating to think that someone with that kind of clout and that kind of intelligence still has that kind of mindset towards this subject, because not only we don't know what, I mean, say aliens did and were and are flying and coming into our atmosphere and our planet, we don't know what they're like. We don't know if they're the exact same way. They could treat their species and their kind just as worse, if not, the same way as we do on this planet. We don't know their morals. We don't know the way of thinking, if they even believe in the certain things that we believe in on this planet. And him kind of saying that about us is just kind of ignorant to think that, especially someone with his intelligence, that we're the only species on this crazy universe that treats our people and our planet the way that we do. I think us humans are obviously extraordinarily intelligent. The things that we're capable of and the things that we're capable of that we don't even know that we can do yet. I think there's a lot of things to us that we just can't comprehend to what our full potential and abilities could be. I think humans have shown the longevity of our race, and that we have proven throughout history, time and time again, that we can adapt, that we can overcome any kind of circumstance that life throws at us and that the universe throws at us. We've been here a long time. I believe that we've been extinct at a certain point, and I think that our human race has had to start over many times on this planet. I think that we're just living in the current time period we live in because we've gotten here through trial and tribulation. I think we've learned a lot throughout the years on how to treat people and what's the right way to treat people and what is the right way to live. And I believe we are continuing to maximize our potential and our intelligence and try to do the best we can to continue to thrive and hopefully make this planet and, you know, the people that live in it continue to grow and be as successful and safe as possible. Obviously, there's different circumstances between everyone, and not everything is perfect, that's for damn sure. But I think him tweeting that just kind of is ignorant to think that humans aren't intelligent in any sort of way. I think we're obviously not the most intelligent in the universe. Who knows what's out there and possibly what's decided to come and visit us. But I think that if aliens were to come to Earth and fly around and take a peek at us, I think not only would they be intrigued by us, but I think they would be willing to come back and kind of poke their heads around and kind of continue to see what we're up to, because we're definitely not done evolving, and we're definitely gonna continue to try to figure out, you know, this whole game that we call life. And I think if aliens were to come here, I think they would be just as intrigued to see what we do in the future. And yeah, I guess that'll kind of be it for this episode. I feel like I've rambled on long enough. Kind of didn't really know fully what I wanted to talk about in this episode, but obviously I could kind of go on and on with this type of topic. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Whoever's listening. I started streaming on Twitch. Been playing a lot of video games lately. Been trying to stream on Twitch at least a few times a week. Been pretty consistent recently. And I've been having a lot of fun on there. So if you want, you can follow me on Twitch at Admire My Moonsault. Follow my Instagram at Admire My Moonsault. If you like comic books, I post a comic book on there once a day with variant covers, new release. If you don't know where to start in comics, if you want to get into them, you can follow me on there, and you could jump right into one and kind of pick up the next one and see what you like. I'm going to try to keep posting these at least once a week, but you never know. I might post 2 a week if I'm really feeling a certain type of way on a certain subject. But definitely at least once a week on this channel. And yeah, I guess that'll be it for episode 10 of That's No Moon Pod. Again, thank you for listening. And I'll see y'all next week for episode 11, where we continue on this journey. And I appreciate y'all being here with me. I don't know where it's going to lead, but I'm excited to see. Hope y'all have a great week. Y'all stay safe, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.